Howdy y'all, it's Jeff B. Davis here, and it is my honor and duty to present to you another round of Dr. Phil's game lessons. Dr. Phill, he's about to teach you some games. He'll Dr. Phill your mind with knowledge. He'll Dr. Phill your heart with pain. Dr. Phill is the man down at Miami U. Dr. Phil's about to teach some games to you.
Hi class, I hope that this semester is starting out good for you so far, and I just wanted to give you this video to do the part of class that everyone always loves. We are going to go through the syllabus and class expectations. So instead of doing this live with you on Friday, I'm just going to send you a video and you can watch it and you'll have everything you need. So the first thing you need to do in order to get into class is you need to go to our classes on Canvas. The ironic part is I'm showing you this, but if you didn't figure this out yet, you won't be able to get to the video. So I'm going to go through this part real quick, but you would want to click on class. And when you come in, you will find this landing page. Now, I don't know if everyone's having the same experience, but Canvas has been loading very slowly for me the past couple of days. So there are images over here that match with that if it looks really weird that this stuff is off center. But this intro page here gives you some real basic information about class, and I'll talk to you a little more in depth about what class is going to involve here in a second. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna have a Mr. Rogers moment. If any of you watched Mr. Rogers when you were a kid, he would take off his work clothes and put on his settling in to be Mr. Rogers clothes. And as you can probably tell, I'm not really wearing work clothes. I have a t-shirt on today, but I have left my not on the computer glasses on. So I'm going to take those off. Oh, Chippy, my neighbor. And I'm going to put on my computer glasses, which make me look like I am from a bad 70s show about outer space. But they actually do really help. Those of you who are spending a lot of time in front of computers, if you have headaches, you should look into getting some amber glasses. These are Gunnar brand. You don't necessarily need to go with a name brand, but the yellow lenses will help you tremendously with blue light. It's a huge, huge difference in headaches for me. Okay, so again, this is the welcome section. This tells you the same info that's at the top of the syllabus. I'll talk to you a little more about what we're going to do in class here in a second, but I want you to know how to navigate everything first. This describes to you where the modules are. The module page is super important because if you click here, the modules page is the nerve center for the class. If you need to find the books, all the books are listed from here. You can see there are 3 books. They're all available electronically in the library. These links will take you to those books so that you can read whatever you need to read. You don't have to buy anything there. All of the assignments for class are listed here. This is the entire semester. This one you will not see because it isn't published, but you can get a little preview here on my screen. We'll talk about this in a little bit here on the video, but we're going to have a major project, but I don't know how much I can tell you yet because it's for something that's being developed. So very exciting and secret there. But that's where your assignments are. The important thing to know in terms of navigating is each week you will have a little bucket type thing here that will show you everything you need to do. So there are 2 activities for you to do here. This tells you what we're doing today. There were no readings for this week because this is the first week. There wasn't really time to read. You'd have readings for next week. Anytime you have readings, they'll be the first thing. And I'll just show you real quick when you go in. It'll tell you where to go to get the thing, what to read. These are each links to other things. And then we'll talk about that based on those readings. But each week is in its own discrete little pocket. And you'll find that I think the first 4 are up so far, and then they start to narrow down a little in terms of what is actually published so far, because I'm trying to figure out how we're going to weave in that one particular project. But I will have all of that set before we get to the end of week 3. We'll have all that settled in, so you'll be able to look forward. So those are the modules, and if you go back home, there is a list of things that are ways to contact me. I haven't officially set my office hours. You're going to see there'll be an announcement up by the time this video is up for you to fill in a survey. I'm trying to figure out the best times to have drop-in office hours so that people can kind of maximize their chance of catching me. Also, if you need to see me at any point, just contact me and we'll figure something out. My Twitter is here. You'll find if you follow me, I do not tweet as much as I should. It's my Twitch channel where class stuff will happen, my Discord ID. You'll also also find that you have an invitation to a Discord that is part of that announcement. There's a Discord we're going to use specifically for these classes so that we can communicate when we need to. And then if you want to add me on Battle.net for any reason to look for me in game, there's my Battle.net ID. I do have an office on campus. I will not be there, as I've told you in other emails. I am working entirely remotely this semester. It's just the way things are with COVID, unfortunately. So, the next thing down is the syllabus. You can click there. The picture itself is also a link. It'll take you to the syllabus, which we'll open here in just a second to continue our discussion. And this last section here are some helpful links back to the program. This will help you to some student help on Canvas. This is how to get to the library. This is how to get to IT help. That's how to email them. That's the phone number. That's the live chat. If you have tech problems, please make sure you talk to IT. I can also try to help you, but they will do much better than I will do. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over here to the syllabus and walk you through the basics of the class. So again, there's a different cartoon picture of me. That's supposed to be this guy right here. And yeah, same info as on the other page. So this is kind of the view from 30,000 feet of what this class is. This class is on games, UX, and human factors. So human factors is kind of a big fancy way of saying the understanding of the way that human beings interact with other things. So it kind of is UX and UX. We're kind of doubling up on that there. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at the user engagement for games, and that could be anything from interfaces to GUIs to methods of utilizing controllers. Basically, we're thinking about how you account for the audience when you're creating a game. And so that's what we're going to be looking at in this class. One of the things that we'll talk specifically about is how if you've taken the regular IMS class on UX, basic UX is the same across disciplines, but there are some major differences for games from something like creating a website or some kind of interactive kiosk or something that is meant to be customer service first. And we might not get to that this very first week, but very quickly in the semester, you'll start to see there are some major, marked, very important differences. So down here, there are required materials. Each class in ETBD is requiring the Adobe Creative Cloud because students need to have access to it. And if it's required here, it can be part of your financial aid. If you feel like it's going to be a financial hardship to access Creative Cloud, you will be able to kind of cluster together the times that you need it in this class so that you can just use the demo if you've never used a demo. If you've demoed before for other classes, we'll have to figure something out. But we can try to make that cost effective. If you're taking other ETBD classes, you're probably going to need it anyways. So you might as well go ahead and bite the bullet on that one. You'll need headphones, obviously. I mean, I guess if you feel like you can live without headphones, I guess maybe you don't necessarily need them. When I put that on the list, we were still going to have this class on ground. But you'll need some way to communicate with us, and you'll need to be able to hear us. So it's probably smart to just have a headset. You'll need a computer. You'll need a high-speed internet connection so that you can keep track of what's going on. You'll need a microphone, and from time to time, you'll need a camera so that we can see you. If you don't have a good camera, that's okay. We're probably not going to do any like broadcast quality streaming in this particular course. So if we can just barely tell that it's you, that's okay. But sometimes people will want to see your face. The learning outcomes for the class are to understand usability concepts. You're going to hear the word heuristic frequently from me. If you've never heard the word heuristic, it's just kind of a long word for a document you use to test something or a tool you use to test something. And we are going to use some different heuristics, and eventually you're going to build your own for how to best user test a game. So we'll do a lot with heuristics. I actually led right into the next one without realizing that's where I was going. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to learn how to user test games and from various stages of production. We'll look at a finished video game. We'll look at a board game that is in progress. And then for our other project, we will look at something top secret that is kind of neither of those and is sort of both of them. The other thing we'll do is we'll talk about what it means to design thinking about UX. And it's going to sound really weird to some of you if you've been designing games for a while and you've been thinking a lot about games, but the number of game companies that do not think about the UX, the user experience that their players are going to have, is really massive. And it's not just people who are new to games. And there are games from companies like Nintendo that have not thought about user experience. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. I can give you 1,000 little examples, and then I can give you some really big, like game-breaking examples. But It's super, super important when you're creating a game to remember who your audience is and what your audience expects and needs from that game. That's one of the keys to creating a good user experience. Grading policies are here. You can read through the rest of like the text that's up here on your own, kind of at your own leisure. What you need to know as the takeaway is there are 1,000 points in class. 100 of them come from weekly responses. 100 of them come from weekly activities. There are 3 100-point gameplay tests that you'll do throughout the semester. There's a final exam, which is actually your final project and presentation, which is 300 points. And then there's a project that goes with that that's 200. So the total for the class is 1,000 points. Anytime you want to know what your grade is, just look and see where you are in Canvas. If you want to try to calculate what you'll end up with, you just knock a 0 off the end of this percentage. It's real easy to figure out where you are. The grading criteria are listed with each project. Most of them are gamified, which means that there are criteria to hit in order to get a certain amount of points. In short, if there's a grade you want from this class, as long as you're willing to put in the effort, there's no reason why you can't get it. Everything is here to show you how to get the grade you would want. So if you desperately want an A, you should be able to figure out how to get an A from reading over everything. If you just want to make sure you pass, you can probably find the places where you could slack off. And if you want to hit anywhere in the middle, it's kind of all right there. I tried to make this more like a game experience so that you could understand exactly how we were doing things. Late work, if you've ever taken a class with me before, I have the same late work policy. Late work shouldn't happen in a class like this where we're moving through and developing and building things. If you miss something, it creates kind of a crescendo effect and things start to fall apart. So if you don't warn me that something's going to be late, I will not accept it. If you have a problem, if something comes up, and trust me, over the course of the last 6 or 7 months, everything that could come up has come up, and I completely understand that things will come up. As long as you talk to me beforehand or as soon as you possibly can, we'll figure something out. But if you realize 3 weeks after something was due that you didn't turn it in, you're just done. You didn't get a chance to turn it in. So I keep a backup policy here. The further we go in life, the less and less we seem to need it. But just a reminder, as a Miami student, you have an unlimited Google Drive space. You can put terabytes in your Google Drive space. So back every single thing that you do up in Google Drive. There's no reason not to. Email copies of it to yourself. Upload it whenever you're working. Just remember, if something goes wrong with your tech, I can't help you. Like, I can't save it. Sometimes people bring me a computer and want me to try to resurrect it and get their files off of it. And I mean, I actually might be able to. I have a couple times, but you shouldn't count on that. You should always assume that the worst might happen to your files and save them. All right, there's a huge section here on academic behavior and academic honesty. I want you to read over it at your leisure, make sure you understand it. So I'm just going to give you an overview of academic behavior. You could read the actual documentation that's here, but there's a real short way to put this. You're adults, you're grown-ups, you're in college now. Act like you're an adult, and I will treat you like you're an adult. If you fail to behave as if you are an adult, then there will be consequences to your actions, and we'll have to do something about it. 9 times out of 10, even more than that, I'd say 98 times out of 100, there is no problem with any of this. You know that you're grown-ups. I know that you're grown-ups. Those of you who've had me in class before know I'm pretty easygoing about things. I'm not going to be, forcing you to spit gum out or yelling at you to sit up straight or smacking anybody with a virtual ruler. But I do expect you to be mature and to be responsible. And so as long as you act the way you should, this will be fine. If you don't, make sure that you read this so you know what will happen to you. Academic honesty, very similarly, don't cheat. You know when you're cheating. I mean, I hate to come at you. I feel like I should lean towards the camera. You know. And just don't cheat and you'll be fine. If you're not sure how to use something, like if you have to borrow something or you're using code from someone else or you're referencing something and you're not sure exactly how to do it, talk to me about it and we'll figure it out. As long as you don't cheat, you'll be fine. If you cheat, the odds of you getting caught are high and the punishment from the university is rough. So just don't cheat. Everything will be great. There's some student support stuff here. I'm not sure how all the student support stuff is going to work with the variants on campus, but if you follow these links, you'll be able to find out what's there. This last section is all about COVID-19 and then video recordings. So we won't be doing any face-to-face classes, but I put this stuff in here anyways because the university asked us to. So if we were to meet on campus, you'd have to know all that. You got to wear a mask. If you don't wear a mask, The instructor could tell you to leave. You got to be there. Now, this video stuff is relatively important. The university is concerned about how we use student likenesses, which they should be. There are laws about it. But it makes things interesting for me because I use Twitch. So each time we have class, I will be streaming myself to Twitch. I'll also be in the Zoom conference with all of you. So if you want to watch on Twitch, you can. Obviously, if you're in the Zoom conference, you probably don't need to watch both, but there will be a Twitch archive later. People from anywhere and everywhere can watch the Twitch stream. It's not password protected. It's not Miami specific. And so I will not be putting your voices there unless we talk about you releasing your face or your voice to that particular public site. The other class recordings, which will be Zoom conferences, those will be archived as well. Everything you say and do in class, in terms of the camera being in front of you, will be archived there, and those will be available to you and your classmates. No one else will be able to see those. I'm not allowed to show them to anyone else. All of you aren't allowed to show them to anyone else. Basically, what this means is you are protected and you have privacy in this class. You can say and do the things that you need to do for class. No one who isn't part of the class will ever see that. If you would like to be a part of the Twitch stuff that I do, all you have to do is talk to me and we'll figure out a way that that can happen. But I am sharing the stuff I am doing with all of you as a class with everyone else too. So basically you're protected because the Twitch thing will not, like I'm simulcasting myself to Twitch and to Zoom. So the stuff that I'm picking up from Zoom will not go out on to Twitch, but people may hear me talking to you and they won't hear your side, so that could get a little dicey, but no one will ever see you. So that's important for you to know. That's something the university wanted to make sure we covered. So there's your syllabus in a nutshell. You can read over that if you want to know more of the specifics. The next thing I want to do is go over to the modules and talk to you about this first week and then what's coming up. So I'll let you go through the assignments. I'm going to cover each of them as we get to them. But if you would like to get ahead, kind of get a sense of what everything's going to be this semester, you can read through all of those now. I once tried to cover all of them in one class, and people literally started to do this. It was just too much for the first day. So we're not going to worry about that for now. You can read over the names and see everything that's happening. And as we go through, we'll talk through all those. So what you need to do this week is you have an introduction to class post, which is here. About a third of you have done it already, which is awesome. If you haven't, please click there and respond. If you've never done a Canvas chat, all you do is click here, and then you click where it says reply, and then you type in here, and when you're done, you hit post reply. Very easy, like any other discussion board you would use. So make sure you post there. You're welcome to respond to people if you want to. You don't necessarily have to respond to people. It's kind of nice if you do, though. And so then this second thing you need to do by next week is talk about your preconception about usability in games. And if you click here, it'll show you the question. But I'm just going to talk you through what this question is. Wow, I made that longer than I meant to. So you're going to get to watch yourselves get a reduction of 1 page worth of work, real time. So we're going to take that down to 250 to 500. But basically, anytime you start researching anything, this is my personal kind of advice and mantra about research. And so anytime you start a new research project, the first thing you should do is create kind of a catalog of the things that you know, but also a list of the things that you think you know that you haven't confirmed. And the reason for this is that there's a thing called researcher bias. If you're positive that you know something already, you will ignore the things that you're learning and the things that you're seeing if they contradict the thing you already think you know is true. So what I want you to do to start off is talk about all the things you think you know about usability and user interfaces. And then we will talk through which of your preconceptions are correct and which ones are not. And that'll be kind of our starting point for how we work through class. So that's something you need to do for the first week. And then I'll go back out to modules here. Then if you come down here to get ready for next week, anytime you have readings, you'll have links to them. So this will link you to the library site to log in to read the book. You want to read the first chapter, which is 35 pages. It sounds intimidating, but there are a lot of spaces and pictures. It's not a terrible thing there. And then there are also 2 articles linked out here that I want you to read. And then the last thing is come out here and look at our very first assignment. And I will talk to you about this assignment when we meet on Friday. I will talk to you real time about what this assignment means, and then we'll talk more about it second week, and we'll get you going with that. And so that's how things are going to work. That's the initial thing of what you need to do there. So I'm going to try to keep these videos from getting too terribly long. This one, I'm going to look over at the other screen here. This one looks like it is clocking in at almost 20 minutes, which is probably more time than I need to talk to you at any given time without giving you a little break. So we're going to stop this one. Okay, so that's going to be our very first activity here. What I would like you to have done by Friday when we meet for the first time is I would like for you to have read over the syllabus, look at those assignments. Of course, I would say make sure you watch this video, but by the time you get to this point in the video, you're almost done. So congratulations, you watched the video, which was one of the things you needed to do. If you have questions, come to class with your questions. And we will start off by talking about some UX basics and kind of getting a sense of where the class is going to go. So it's nice to meet all of you. It's a relatively large class. I think there's 30 of you. So you're going to have a lot of classmates to get to know. And we should have a lot of fun and learn a lot of stuff this semester. So I hope everybody's doing okay. I hope the first week is not draining you too badly. And I will see all of you Friday afternoon. So, hey, welcome to class. Talk to you soon.
He'll Dr. Phill your mind with knowledge. He'll Dr. Phill your heart with pain.